And welcome back to Open. Gun violence continues to be an issue in our nation. Chicago saw its deadliest weekend after 65 people were shot, 13 people killed after this past weekend's Labor Day celebration. Here in New York, 2 people lost their lives and 4 others injured from senseless shootings at the West Indian Day Parade in Brooklyn. We want to talk about gun violence in our community and what we can do to help. Here to talk about it is from CABA, David CABA, Program Director of Bronx Rises Against Gun Violence, better known as BRAG, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing here in the borough as well as across the city. And David, good to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
Thank you. And as we talk about this, obviously a lot of concern. Once again, West Indian Day Parade ends in violence, but more importantly, the conversation being had across the city is we continue to see senseless shootings, senseless murders, and this ever-increasing number rising with homicides. Talk to us a little bit about your organization, Bronx Rises Against Gun Violence, because you guys have taken an active approach in really trying to deal with this.
We do. Bronx Rises Against Gun Violence, BRAG, as you said for short, is a program of Good Shepherd Services. Good Shepherd Services has been around since the 40s, doing great work in terms of foster care, supportive housing, juvenile justice in 3 boroughs in the city. They received the funding to create the Cure Violence program here in the Bronx. The Cure Violence model came out of Chicago, extremely successful, reduction in shooting by 66% in the worst neighborhoods of Chicago, and from there it spanned out nationally and now globally. Everywhere that it's deployed, the reduction in shooting is dramatic. So we created Bronx Rises Against Gun Violence, which is BRAG for short, to affect a particular area in the 46th precinct as of 2014. The worst part of the 46th precinct, in fact, where the shooting was the highest. And I got good news. Good news is that from 2014 to 2015, in the area where we provide the services, we reduced the shooting by 50%. More good news, we haven't had a homicide in the area we service since 2014. More good news, since February of this year, all the way until today, knock on wood, we haven't had any shooting in the catchment area, which is the zone, the hot zone, the worst part of the 46th precinct that we service. No shootings. From February all the way until today, that means June, July, and August.
Right, well, and that's major because the summer, we know that many times in the summertime, those numbers continue to rise, but you've seen no action. What do you think is the difference maker, and how are you making that difference?
The difference is the model. The model came out of Chicago, and the model uses a public health approach. It treats violence like a disease. So we attack it like a public health issue. And so we do 3 major things. We identify the high-risk youth who are involved in this activity. We provide them with wraparound services, jobs, training, employment, and how to handle conflicts peacefully. We also involve the community in a major way by getting them involved through public education, through getting them to reject the violence, getting them to understand. And when there's a shooting, within 72 hours, we react to the shooting on the site, getting all the stakeholders from the community together to reject that violence, to get them to say that this is not right, that this is abnormal, and we need to say no to the violence.
When you talk about taking the model from Chicago, I want to take a look at Chicago for a minute. 488 homicides in Chicago so far this year. They logged 481 last year. And obviously, while you take the model from Chicago, Chicago still has some work, major work that needs to be done. Give us a little bit about why maybe some of this stuff isn't working all the way through in Chicago.
Well, I'm not from Chicago. I did go visit Chicago, and when Dr. Slutkin created this, in the areas where the Cure Violence model was deployed, the shooting is down in those areas. Now, funding is really one of the issues in Chicago, so they lost a lot of funding. And once they did, then that's when the shooting spiked all over again. Now, I'm not from Chicago, I'm not the elected officials,
right.
But that's what I know of what's going on in Chicago. Here in New York, it's a different story. We have 18 Cure Violence sites. And in multiple in boroughs, there are multiple Cure Violence sites. We did so well, they actually asked us to open up another one in the northern Bronx on Bronxwood in 227th Street. And over there, we haven't had any shootings since January.
How do we address this issue? Of course, we talk about the West Indian Day Parade. We know what happened last year, an aide to the governor being murdered. Also this year, you have 2 people who've lost their lives, and you see the Daily News headline there, senseless slaughter, and calls now for the Juve to actually be disbanded. How do we approach this? What do we do moving forward? Do you think it should be disbanded?
No, I don't think so. I always say that there's more than one approach to a problem. You have to have multiple solutions. It's multifaceted. So you do have law enforcement, and you have other anti-violence programs, prevention programs, treatment programs. We're one of the solutions to it. We're a proven solution to it. It works. And my strongest suggestion is to include the cure violence programs in that area, because there are at least 5 cure violence programs in Brooklyn, and they should include those cure violence programs in the solution.
Talk to me about buy-in, because obviously when you have programs such as this, you have to have buy-in. You have to have buy-in from the community. You have to have buy-in from, those even in the people who are engaged in the illegal activity, trying to work that piece out. How hard was it to get buy-in in the Bronx?
It's not easy. And the major key to the buy-in is that the staff that we hire are from that community. Individuals who used to be these high-risk youth, who got older, became mature, decided to make a change and come back and give back to the community. So all of our staff, including yours truly, come from that community. So that's where the key is for the buy-in.
So when you talk about receptivity, obviously somebody has to be receptive if you're having these numbers being able to drop. Do you see this being replicated in other places in our borough?
Well, it's like I said, there's 1 in Staten Island, there are 5 in Brooklyn, 5 here in the Bronx, 2 of which Bragg runs. There are 3 in Queens, and there are also state programs. In Bronxwood, we have the state program, Stand Up to Violence, that's partnering with us. I created, along with the Center for Core Innovations, Ife Charles, a Bronx Cure Violence Council, where all 5 cure violence programs, we meet monthly to support each other, to share ideas and information, to deal with these high-risk youth who cross over from precinct to precinct, because we share precinct boundaries. And so when you work collaboratively that way, then the effect is on a larger scale, a greater scale. But we do need more cure violence programs in the city of New York.
You talked about when there's a shooting that occurs, there's a group of people that come rejecting the violence and really speaking to that violence. That's something that's really not spoken too much of, or a lot of criticism comes that sometimes you don't have people that are actually on the ground rejecting the violence as loudly as ought to be. How effective is that principle in terms of standing up, rejecting, making a statement, and making your presence felt?
It's a powerful vehicle by which we can connect with the community, because when they see us come out, when they see the elected officials come out, when they see the clergy come out, the business individuals from the community-based organization, all as one, our youth that are sometimes our participants that participate, and they get on the bullhorn, and we have our posters, and we walk around the community, and we do it where the actual shooting took place. It is a powerful instrument to utilize where they see us. So now whenever a shooting occurs, they're already talking to us, asking, you guys are going to respond, right? And we're like, we'll be out there. Within 72 hours, we're out there making sure that they understand that this happened and we need to reject it. I want to be clear on that. It's to reject the violence. It has nothing to do with the victim or the perpetrator. It's about the violence in the community. It is a disease. It is damaging our community, and we need to reject it, we need to stop it.
So where do you go from here? Obviously, you got some good work going on. You've got some numbers that are really showing some positive results. What's the move now?
Well, right about now, we tend to work in the catchment area, but also the perimeter. And so, for example, in this particular precinct, in the 46th precinct, it borders the 5-2, the 52nd precinct. We actually work up there because we have some crews that are doing some things that cross over into it. So we're looking to maybe do some work in the 5-2 because it's a natural fit for us. It extends our catchment.
Right. So we look forward to hearing that. Now, for people who want more information about Bronx Rises Up Against Gun Violence, better known as Bragg, what do they do?
They can simply come see us at our office at 1995 Jerome Avenue, the 2nd floor, or they can call us. Our number is 718-716-1150, and come see us, or in our Bronxwood office, they can call us at 718-314-1452.
Before I let you go, talk to me about community partners for a minute, because that's major, right? You got to have community partners and people who are really vested in this. How hard, and are you still looking for community partners to really partner with us?
We're always looking for community partners. It is a community issue. And so we're talking about bodegas, we're talking about the churches, we're talking about the barbershops, the car washes. We work with all of them. We provide services. We do community events for free. We pay for it all, and it's to bring the community together. And so far, they love us. They come out. They support us. They're a part of everything that we do.
All right, David Cobb is the program director, Bronx Rises Against Violence, better known as BRAG. David, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us, and continue the good work.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Darren.
All righty. Listen, we need you to stay with us. We're taking a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Open right after this.